Hi, I'm Catherine Wise, and I'm a postdoctoral associate at the Nicholas School of the Environment at Duke University. One of my dreams growing up was to spend time out at sea studying whales. And that opportunity was presented in 2010. When I was an undergraduate, I did research in my dad's laboratory at the University of Southern Maine. You may remember the BP Horizon oil disaster, the explosion, and the subsequent gushing of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. For us, this was a call to action. And when we entered the Gulf, we thought that we would be surrounded by oil. We didn't see any. It was shocking. And the reason for this is because there were tons and tons of chemical dispersants that were sprayed aerially and injected underwater at where the leak was occurring. And what this did was it took all that oil that was visible and it dispersed it into teeny tiny little droplets so that it was no longer visible. Out of sight, out of mind. But we weren't so sure that out of sight, out of mind was the right way to think of it. This was essentially a huge toxicology experiment that was done in the Gulf of Mexico. I received an EPA fellowship to study on a cellular level how chemical dispersants and chemical dispersants mixed with oil compared to the toxicity of oil by itself. I earned my degree in toxicology from North Carolina State University. Much of my dissertation was focused on the comparative genomics of cancers across dogs, sea lions, and humans, as well as looking at exposures in dogs and people. I have a passion for One Health, but when you think of One Health, you typically think of infectious disease. But what I'm particularly interested in is a subset of One Health that has been coined One Environmental Health. Now, what is One Environmental Health? Well, like the One Health concept, where it is recognized that the health of animals, people, and the environment are all connected, One Environmental Health focuses specifically on how toxic chemicals in the environment may be contributing to adverse health impacts across animals, the environment, and humans. My current research focus is centered on dogs. Dogs and people have hundreds of diseases that are shared between them. These include cancers. Cancers are chronic diseases that take a very long time to manifest in people. It can take decades. But dogs have a much shorter lifespan. So we can study the relationship between environmental exposures and disease outcomes in a much shorter time period, and potentially use this as a model for human health. The major advantages of this is that you might be able to recognize that there is an exposure that may be a potential health problem in the dog population, and then you can have opportunities to mitigate these exposures, start screening at-risk populations earlier, because one of the key things in cancer prognosis is how early the disease is detected. And this is true in dogs and people. I'm now working in the Stapleton Laboratory at Duke University. We are conducting a case control study looking at dogs with bladder cancer. And what that means is we are looking at a population of dogs that have been diagnosed with bladder cancer and comparing their exposures to dogs that are healthy and have no history of cancer. My hope is that our research will contribute to creating a healthier world for our pets and for us. Thank you for your attention.